Hi, thanks for clicking on this video. This project took me about 2 months to complete and edit, and your viewership is greatly appreciated. If you're here to learn how to beat Dark Souls at SL1 without dying or even without getting hit, great, this video is perfect for you and I hope you enjoy. But even if you have no idea what Dark Souls is and have never played it, I've still made this video accessible and entertaining for you guys. With that said, please enjoy. Hello everybody. Dark Souls is a game that I've been meaning to make a video on since the very creation of my channel. With its simple to understand yet extremely deep combat and challenge, it's a perfect fit for the kind of content that's on this channel. For that reason, in order to honor the piece of art that is Dark Souls, I had to do a challenge that really meant something. I first considered beating the entire game without dying, but I thought that would be too easy. So in this video, I'll be covering a complete guide on how to beat the entirety of Dark Souls without dying and without leveling your character, plus a few other rules. Before we get into the guide, I'm going to spend a bit of time here covering the basic mechanics and plot of Dark Souls, since most of my audience came from a different series. If you've already played Dark Souls, feel free to skip ahead to the next chapter in the video. Dark Souls is an RPG that is set in the style of dark medieval times. For a basic plot summary, in Dark Souls, you venture through a dying world as the chosen undead. The Age of Fire has gone on long enough, and the flame of life is close to burning out. Your objective in the game is to reach the Kiln of the First Flame and relink the fire to keep the dying world alive. This is done through exploring a variety of areas in order to activate key moments in the game. The reward. With plenty of areas to explore and bosses to fight. Bro, you're not serious. The double jump. You're not serious. You're not serious with that shit. There's the worst RNG literally ever. I'm not going to talk about much more of the plot, and there are people who are way more qualified and way better at explaining Dark Souls lore than I am. However, what I do want to talk about is the beautiful combat mechanics of Dark Souls. The beauty of Dark Souls combat is that it's so simple to understand, yet has one of the highest skill ceilings of any game to date. And it's all centered around this green bar right here. This is your stamina bar. And in order to do pretty much anything except walk, you must consume stamina. Defensive options such as running, rolling, or blocking attacks will all consume stamina. Likewise, any form of melee attacking will also consume stamina. This creates a puzzle in which the player must learn to balance the stamina bar around the foe that they are facing. With how unforgiving the game may seem, you'll quickly realize the importance of timing. It is crucial that in every combat interaction, you know exactly when you can attack without risking danger. There are no animation cancels in Dark Souls. Any action you choose, you must fully commit to. On the more offensive side of combat, you're able to choose many different paths and builds for your character. Every enemy and boss you kill will drop souls, and these souls can be used to purchase things, acting as a sort of currency. They can also be used to level up your character. Within the stat menu, you can allocate your levels to many different stats. Vitality increases your health, endurance increases your stamina bar, strength and dexterity allow you to hit harder and wield stronger weapons, and attunement, intelligence, and faith all contribute to different types of magic. Leveling up is an essential part of the game, and is part of the reason as to why this challenge was so unforgiving and difficult. No. Are you serious? Are you actually serious? With the basic mechanics out of the way, we can go over the rules for this challenge. I'm going to be following the conventional no-hit rule set with a few exceptions. First, we'll obviously be replacing no hit with no death. Anytime I die throughout the entire game, I must delete my file and reset the game back to the very beginning.
This is beyond brutal. You can unmute now, Logan runs over.
In addition to not dying an entire time, this is an SL1 challenge, or Soul Level 1, meaning that we cannot level up our character at all throughout the entire game. This makes the game more difficult in almost every way. Without leveling our health, we die to almost any attack. We have very little stamina to work with, and do very little damage due to not having enough strength or dexterity to wield powerful weapons. I'll also be following conventional no-hit rules in that magic is not allowed, and blocking with a shield is also not allowed. This further increases the difficulty of the challenge by forcing you to often be up close and personal with bosses to damage them. I will be allowing quitouts to save time, but never in boss arenas, and I'll also point out where we use them in the run. I also want to mention that the strategies used in this run can be applied to almost any playthrough of the game, not just SL1. But the perfection required in this challenge is much more than a casual playthrough. So even if you don't plan on attempting this challenge, I'd still highly encourage watching. I'll also be going over my personal experience with the challenge after the guide segment, which comes with some funny moments. If you'd like to watch the full run uncut, I have the raw recording linked in the description. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the guide. When creating our character, it's very important to choose the right starting class, since we can't alter our stats by leveling up. We choose the Pyromancer class because it has the best balance of stats for all of the weapons that we're going to be using throughout the run. It's also very important to select the Master Key for our starting gift. The route that we're going to be going through the game requires the Master Key to open certain doors to make the route possible. With the creation of our character, the first phase of the game begins, the setup. Running through the Undead Asylum is pretty straightforward, so I wanted to explain some general information about the challenge while this plays in the background. Going into this challenge, I was a relatively casual Dark Souls player. I had done a few playthroughs and understood the game decently well, but the precision and skill required for this challenge completely caught me off guard. All the other challenges I've done on this channel took less than 10 hours to complete, while this one took 50. With this challenge far and away being the most difficult I've ever attempted, and it really put into perspective how crazy some of the Dark Souls challenge runs are. Now, back to the guide. Once I pick up the Pyromancer starting weapon, the hand axe, I immediately two-hand it. By pressing Y or triangle, you can hold the weapon in your right hand with both hands, which amplifies its damage at the expense of not using your left hand. We will always be two-handing our weapons in this run, since blocking with shields and magic are both banned. Once we grab an Estus and a key from Oscar, it's time to fight the Asylum Demon. To start the fight, I perform a jump attack. This is done by pressing forward and the right trigger at the same time. Wait until you've hit the Asylum Demon, then lock on by pressing in the right stick to perform a plunging attack. This will ensure optimal damage to the boss. After you've hit him with the plunging attack, simply circle around the boss to hit him from behind. Most of his attacks can't reach his back, so you should be safe. After the Asylum Demon is killed, we grab the Big Pilgrim's Key and head to Lordran. This is Firelink Shrine, and it functions as the hub world in Dark Souls. We pick up firebombs from the chest on the right side of the shrine, then fall through the Gargoyles shortcut elevator to pick up the Homeward Bones and Lloyd Talismans. Homeward Bones allow us to teleport to the most recent bonfire we rested at, and they'll save a lot of time throughout the run. As we walk up to the Undead Burg, make sure to pick up this soul here. We'll need to grab all of the available soul items on the ground on the way to the blacksmith to fully upgrade our weapon. Make your way through Undead Burg to the Undead Merchant and purchase 3 Lloyd's Talismans, the Reinforced Club, and roughly 40 arrows. We're going to venture a bit further into Undead Burg for our first use of the Master Key. In this chest contains 3 gold pine resin. This item allows us to buff our weapon with lightning. Coincidentally, there are 3 bosses we have to fight in the early game, and they're all weak to lightning. So we grab the pine resin here to make the fights easier. After we get the pine resin, we homeward back to Firelink to save some time, then head down the elevator to New Londo. We use the Master Key for a second time here in order to open up the shortcut to the Valley of Drakes. Make sure to grab the soul next to the door when you open it. When reaching this undead dragon, don't grab anything except the soul between his toes here. If you grab any of the other items, the dragon will wake up and attack you. This Drake here can pose a problem. I found that the most consistent way to dodge him is to jump to the right as he shoots lightning. Make sure that you don't get caught in his wings, as he can sometimes push you off the edge when he's turning. Look at my movement tech. Oh! Whoa, 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 what?
Brutal.
Whoa. You're going to want to turn left and run across the bridge to this ladder. Sometimes the lightning from the drakes can hit you on the ladder, but it shouldn't be enough to kill you. Once you grab the red tearstone ring, line yourself up with the separation in these bricks here and roll off the tower. We're going to perform a switch cancel. So as you're falling, press right on the D-pad as if you're putting away your weapon. For whatever reason, if you spam the roll button as you hit the ground, all of your lag will cancel in favor of the weapon switch animation. This is usually better than just normal rolling when you hit the ground, since you can start the sprinting animation way earlier. After running past the drakes, take the elevator up to Darkroot Garden. You'll be faced with the first Black Knight here. Killing this Black Knight was originally a very annoying and tedious part of the run, but you can actually kill him in a much faster and safer way. Because of the Black Knight's AI, he isn't able to enter into the cave that you came from. Think of it like a FNAF safe room almost. Once he fails to see you, he'll return to his original spawn position. During this walk back animation, he can't hit you or even see you at all. Take this time to run past him, then perform a jump and attack in midair to land out of bounds. This Black Knight will follow your position and then simply run off the edge. Then just simply run and jump back in bounds. We have to kill this Black Knight for his souls, but we also need the item that he's guarding, the Grass Crest Shield. Normally we wouldn't carry a shield in this challenge, but this shield gives you a passive buff that regenerates your stamina faster. This buff is still active when the shield is carried on your back, so it functions as a permanent stamina buff throughout the run. As you're running up the Darkroot Garden Hill, make sure to grab the longbow and kill this crystal lizard here. Before going to Andre to upgrade our reinforced club, grab the soul located near the 2 grass enemies. All of the souls we picked up on the way here, combined with the souls we got from killing the Black Knight, will give us enough souls to upgrade our club to +4. If you want, you can grab the Titanite shard from the enemy guard and the Firekeeper soul in the church, then upgrade it to +5, but it's not entirely required. This upgraded reinforced club will function as our primary weapon for the first half of the game. Now, it's time to make our way to the Gargoyles to ring the first bell of awakening. But before we can fight them, we have to make our way through this church. This church contains 10 hollows and a priest that buffs the hollows, making for a very tedious and dangerous process of individually killing all of the hollows. Whoa, really, man? Oh my fucking god, are you serious? It's the fucking channeler? That's why you always go to the stairs, dude. Originally, I would lure all of the hollows to the stairs and then kill them there. But this was still very tedious and a bit risky, as 2 hits from a buffed hollow can kill you immediately. Luckily, I was able to find a much faster and safer strategy. First, we have to deal with the priest. To kill the priest, line yourself up with this pillar here. If you go any further, the priest will aggro and start shooting magic at you. If you're playing normally, feel free to just shoot him down with the bow, but if you're SL1 like I am, you're gonna have to use firebombs. In Dark Souls, you can use the bow to position the way in which your character looks in a first-person view. This allows you to aim throwable items more accurately. Aim your bow reticle at the top of this archway here, then throw 2 firebombs and buffer or roll away. You should be able to kill the priest and safely dodge his attack. While the hollows can't be buffed by the priest, they still pose a threat when running through, specifically the first hollow that can perform a jumping attack the moment you run through the door. We're again going to use firebombs to deal with this hollow. As you're approaching the room with the hollows, walk up to this last square pillar and position yourself such that you're lined up with the back edge of it. This is the closest you can be to the room without aggroing any of the hollows inside. Then take out your bow and position it right here. If you need a reference, line up the right diagonal part of your reticle with the end of this board right here. Then throw a firebomb and it should kill the first hollow. With this hollow dead, run through the open room and perform a running attack on the hollow blocking the doorway. The only hollow that would have time to catch up to you when waiting for this death animation, we already killed with the firebomb. Then simply run past the last hollow and climb up the ladders. If you miss a firebomb when trying to kill the hollow, I'd recommend quitting out and loading the game back up. If you miss a firebomb, the hollows will likely hear it and move towards it to mess up this strategy. Quitting out resets enemy positions and doesn't respawn any enemies you've already killed, so the hollows will return to their original position. Then you can attempt the firebomb kill again. Again, we are allowing quit outs in areas that aren't boss arenas, so in my personal run, I allowed this in my strategy. We now arrive at our first main boss in the run. The Gargoyles are usually a skill check for most players, and for some general boss advice in Dark Souls 1, never lock on. For some reason, when you lock onto an enemy in Dark Souls 1, you can only roll in 4 directions. This will often lead to the player panic rolling backwards when pressured by an attack, which will almost often end up in them getting hit by the lingering hitbox of that attack. Luckily for us in this fight, we are well prepared to decimate the Gargoyles' health. With either a +5 or +4 club and our gold pine resin, the first gargoyle will die in 4 to 5 hits, and the second one in 2 to 3 hits. With the sheer amount of damage we're outputting, the easiest way to deal with this fight is to kill the first gargoyle before the second one even has a chance to reach you. When starting the fight, buff up with the gold pine resin before entering the fog gate. They are extremely weak to the gold pine resin. And also make sure to 2-hand your reinforced club. The second gargoyle will begin to spawn after you hit the first gargoyle with 2 light attacks. But we want it to take as long as possible for the second gargoyle to reach us. Gargoyle. But we want it to take as long as possible for the second gargoyle to reach us. Gargoyle. I can't say that. Gargoyle. For this reason, wait for the first gargoyle to approach you near the back of the arena before engaging. This should give you enough time to wail on the first gargoyle. Holy shit, I can't say that. What do I say? Boss? Enemy? For this reason, wait for the first gargoyle to approach near the back end of the arena before engaging. This should give you enough time to wail on the first gargoyle before the second one even reaches you. When dodging the gargoyle's attacks, like I said earlier, never lock on and always roll through the attack. When rolling backwards, you often roll directly into a lingering attack hitbox and still get hit regardless. In the worst case scenario, the first gargoyle will jump and fly in the air a bit after you've already triggered the spawn of the second gargoyle. In this case, be patient and wait for the gargoyle to land, then just wail on him. He has a bit of lag on his landing before he can attack you, so it's safe to punish. Once you've successfully killed the first gargoyle, the second gargoyle shouldn't be much of a problem. Either roll through his attacks or run around his fire breath, and you should be able to kill him in 2 to 3 hits. With the gargoyles now defeated, we bring the first Bell of Awakening, climb down the tower, and buy 10 homeward bones from Oswald here. This ensures that we always have the option to teleport back to bonfires throughout the entirety of the run. With the first bell rung, the setup is complete and we can officially begin the early game. Our task for the early game is simple. We need to reach Anor Londo, the land of the gods. To do this, we must journey down to Blighttown in order to ring the second Bell of Awakening. This will then open Sen's Fortress. We then must journey up to the top of Sen's Fortress and defeat the Iron Golem. Then we are granted access to Anor Londo. We first need to begin our journey down to Blighttown. If you're confident that you won't die down here, I advise resting at the Firelink Shrine bonfire or the Undead Parish bonfire. If you decide to play it safe and get the bonfire in Blighttown, you'll have to run the whole way back to Sen's Fortress after we defeat Ceaseless. On your way down to Blighttown, make sure to deal with Lautrec. This guy will kill the Firekeeper at Firelink Shrine if you don't kill him, which makes the Firelink Shrine bonfire unusable. In Dark Souls, you can perform a kick by pressing a direction and the light attack button at the exact same time. This is one of the harder moves to do with the inputs and is used to break enemies' guards in combat. However, it also pushes NPCs without making them aggressive. Kicking Lautrec twice will push him off the edge and avoid a combat encounter that is otherwise decently difficult. When you perform kicks on NPCs, make sure to always hold out your fist, as a certain damage threshold is required to make the NPCs aggressive. This will give you more tries to kick the enemy in case you mess up your input. While you're here, I'd also advise using the Firekeeper Soul we picked up in the church to upgrade your Estus to +1. We also use a quit out here in order to load Lautrec's loot back into the game. When NPCs fall off the map, their loot is loaded into the last place they were standing before they were killed. However, this requires a map reset in order to reload the items. In order to save time and retain our position, quit outs are the fastest way to do this. Lautrec drops the Ring of Favor and Protection and 5 Humanity, both of which will be very useful for the run. You may be tempted to put on the Ring of Favor, which is debatably the best ring in the game, but I encourage waiting until Anor Londo to put it on, since we want to use it on the hardest portion of the game. The ring breaks when removed, so it's very important to know when and where to use it. Now, head down the elevator and head into Blighttown. Because we started with the Master Key, we're able to use this back entrance to what would normally be one of the hardest areas in the entire game. This is a massive shortcut and it almost goes straight to the boss. There are 3 enemies guarding the back entrance to Blighttown that I'm going to refer to as the thugs. Oh wait, I have to walk behind the guys again. The thugs or whatever they're called.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the dudes in the Blighttown tunnel. They're very scary and I died to them once.
Oh, the barbarians?
Yes, the thugs. Despite being very slow to react, the thugs can sometimes kill you on the run to Blighttown if you aren't careful. Whoa, what?
Oh, whoa. I thought that. Bro, damn.
What? I've never been touched by them, ever. The best way that I've found to avoid them is to inch forward and lure the first thug away from the second one, so that you can easily dodge his attack. Then, when you pass the other two, always be ready to roll forward and to the side in case they decide to do a fast swing. Before you descend the Blighttown Tower, check if you have any purple moss. If you didn't happen to get any from killing the grass enemies in Darkroot Garden, then you have 2 choices. We have to go through the Poison Swamp to fight Quelagg, meaning that you'll either have to wait at the Fog Gate for your poison to run out before entering the fight, or just fight Quelagg poisoned. However, there is a way to get a guaranteed purple moss drop on the way down to Blighttown, but it requires a pretty difficult technique. This is one of the hardest tricks in the run in my opinion, but it's really fast and always gets a guaranteed purple moss drop. To perform the tech, when you get to the Blighttown tower, drop down 2 floors to where the fire enemy is located. Run past it and perform a jump forward and slightly left on this extension here. Then perform a switch cancel on landing so you don't run off the platform. You have to be fast here so that the toxic bugs aren't able to hit you. Once you land on the platform, quickly turn around and lock onto the toxic enemy in front of you. Buffer 2 firebomb throws and then dash out. If done correctly, you should get some combination of purple moss, all of which will work against the poison. Once you've descended the Blighttown tower through the water wheel, we head straight to the boss room. The boss room is this giant spider nest across the poison lake. Note that when rolling through the poison lake, you always want to be on the right of this tree here. If you go too far left, the boulder carrying enemies will be able to detect you. Before we fight Quelagg, I want to go over the importance of different kinds of rolling in Dark Souls, as it wasn't too important for the very early game, but becomes extremely necessary for Quelagg and onwards. Rolling is by far the most important defensive option in the game. When rolling, you have a period of invincibility or iframes that allow you to dodge any attack, no matter how strong it is. This is contrasted with blocking, in which some attacks are just too strong to block. How fast your roll is and the amount of invincibility you have are determined by your equip load, or the combined weight of all the armor and weapons that you're carrying. These rolls can be separated into 3 categories: fast rolling, mid rolling, and fat rolling. You're able to fast roll when you have 0 to 25% equip load, and this roll is, as the name suggests, the fastest of the 3. It has 13 iframes and 11 recovery frames. You mid-roll when between 25% and 50% equip load, with 11 iframes and 22 recovery frames. You fat roll when between 50% and 100% equip load, with 9 iframes and 37 recovery frames. In our run, we always go with the option of fast rolling, as it provides the most invincibility frames and the least recovery time. You'll notice in the very beginning of this run, I took off the gloves on the default pyromancer set back in the Undead Asylum. This is because with the gloves on, along with the grass crest shield and reinforced club, I would be mid-rolling instead of fat rolling. Throughout the run, I always try to put on the most armor possible while still fast rolling, as sometimes those small defensive upgrades can be the difference between life and death. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Now that we know the importance of fast rolling, it's time to take on the second main boss in the game, Chaos Witch Quelagg. Quelagg is a boss that is designed to test the player's timing, and is quite difficult to get used to, but is one of the easiest and most consistent bosses once learned. Your general strategy for this fight is going to consist of maneuvering around the arena to avoid the lava spots, dodging Quelagg's attacks, then punishing with charge attacks of your own. I'll go over all the possible attacks Quelagg can do now. She can do a large lava attack where she spews lava all over the arena. This attack is the easiest to punish and is where the bulk of your damage is going to come from. She can also do a small lava attack where she only spits 1 pool of lava at you. Be wary of this attack, as it has pretty far range to the sides and behind her. In addition to her lava attacks, she has 2 sword attacks. The first is a long-range stab, which can simply be avoided by running to the side and then rolling, and the second is her most dangerous attack, a 3-slash combo. There are 2 ways to avoid this. You can strafe and roll around her body in order to get a hit off, or you can simply roll back and play it safe. The strafe dodge is more risky, but also more rewarding and faster. Personally, I find the easiest way to dodge this attack is to listen for the audio cues of the sword slashing and then roll based on them. Bro, give me the footage I need, come on. Eventually, the timing will become muscle memory. In addition to her other 4 attacks, Quelagg has 2 AoE or area of effect attacks. These attacks are designed as get-off-me moves when the player is up close. The first attack is a stomp from Quelagg's legs. This attack is very slow and telegraphed, so it should be pretty easy to avoid. However, the second AoE attack is far more dangerous. This attack is a large explosion that does massive damage, killing most builds instantly. There are 2 big telegraphs to this attack. The more obvious one is Quelagg herself curling in and hugging the spider body. The moment you see this, run or roll away in order to not get caught in the explosion. The second tell is the spider's legs curling up. This is designed to trap players inside Quelagg's legs, making them much more vulnerable to the explosion. For this reason, when strafing around Quelagg, and especially when attacking, you should always stay outside of the spider's legs in order to not get caught in the explosion. Her last and debatably most dangerous attack is her jumping attack. No! Oh my god, dude. That's 30 minutes of my life gone. This attack is pretty uncommon, but when it does happen, it's very important to know how to deal with it. Quelagg will squat down and jump towards the player, spewing out 5 pools of lava in midair. This attack covers a stupid amount of ground and is really difficult to dodge. If you're really far away from Quelagg and you see the animation starting, keep running so that the lava doesn't hit you. However, if you're close, roll under her when she jumps to avoid any damage. Now that we've covered how Quelagg works, the boss overall shouldn't be too much of a problem. Remember to use the second gold pine resin during this fight for some extra damage in the beginning. If you'd like to see how I played this fight in full, the raw recording to my successful run is in the description. With Quelagg defeated, we can ring the second bell of awakening and officially open Sen's fortress, but we aren't done here quite yet. We're going to need a bit more souls to upgrade one of our weapons later, so we're going to head deeper into the Demon Ruins in order to fight one more boss. I'd encourage not resting at the Demon Ruins bonfire so we can teleport back to the Firelink or Undead Parish bonfire after we get more souls. With how long Quelagg took to fight, you may be thinking that fighting another boss, especially in this endgame area, would be a complete mistake. However, the next boss we fight is actually the weakest boss in the entire game. Make your way through the fog gate and you'll eventually see a large creature standing in front of you. This is Ceaseless Discharge, and his story is actually pretty sad. Ceaseless Discharge was originally a child of chaos, burned by lava sores and transformed into a monster from the Witch of Izalith's attempted recreation of the First Flame. Ceaseless doesn't even want to fight you, believing that all his siblings died in the accident where he was injured. He sits here, guarding the grave of his sister, who he believes to be dead, despite her only being a few feet away in Blighttown. It's a really tragic story. Well, I don't give a shit, it's just a game, bro. I need that new armor set. When we rob the grave of Ceaseless's sister, he becomes enraged, and this is where the fight begins. However, we have a strategy that will end with us simply killing him with our fists. When you rob the grave, wait for Ceaseless to do this lava spewing attack. This will always be his first attack, and you will die if you start running immediately. Then, run past Ceaseless and hug the left wall. Run all the way back to the fog gate and line yourself up with this second block here. Ceaseless will then slip and be hanging off the edge of the cliffside. Then, simply a few hits with any weapon will loosen his grip and he'll fall to his death. Be warned, I've heard some guides say that you should run all the way back and touch the fog gate. However, I actually ended up getting killed in this way. You can die on Ceaseless? I didn't...
That's
Ouch.
rough, buddy.
As some lava spews upwards when Ceaseless goes to grab the ledge. Note that if you somehow end up dying in this fight, Ceaseless will learn from his mistakes and not chase you back to the fog gate anymore, instead requiring you to fight him up close. We aren't geared for that fight at this point, so if you die, I'd advise grabbing your souls and then homeward boning out of the area. Before we head to Sen's fortress, we're going to make a quick stop to get the Darkwood Grain Ring. This is a ring that changes your fast roll animation to a ninja flip. The ninja flip is faster, covers more distance, and has more invincibility frames than a regular fast roll. We're going to use it for almost all of the boss fights moving forward. To obtain this ring, first buy the Crest of Artorias from Andre along with the weaponsmith box because we're going to need that later, and then open the door that would lead to Sif's area. Within this forest, we need to kill Shiva's bodyguard. However, we're going to be getting jumped by the forest hunters, which are all quite strong for this point in the game. To circumvent this, run straight to Alvina the cat and join the Forest Hunters Covenant. This will prevent the other NPCs from attacking you while we deal with Shiva's bodyguard. You can then kick him off the ledge. Quit once that you see you've gained 2,000 souls and the ring should be on the ground where he was. Remember to hold your fist out when kicking in case you mess up the inputs. Then simply grab the ring and homeward bone out. Be careful and watch to make sure that Shiva doesn't hit you. You may have to run away and get a bit of distance on him before you homeward bone out. We are officially ready to take on Sen's fortress, which in-universe is meant to function as a trial for the undead to prove that they are worthy to venture to Anor Londo. Most players despise this area, but it's one of my favorite areas in the entire game. and that's because of consistency. Once you know Sen's Fortress, I promise that you will never struggle on it. But get ready, as this is going to be a long section. Throughout the 50 hours and 28 deaths I had attempting this challenge, not a single one was on Sen's Fortress, as in the level of Sen's Fortress. The Iron Golem was a different story. When you first enter Sen's Fortress, watch out for the pressure plate in the middle of the entryway. These appear throughout the area and usually result in arrows being shot at you. Run past the first 2 snake enemies until you reach the first section of swinging obstacles. These are actually timed perfectly so that you can run through all of them without slowing down. Run up against the first one and don't stop running throughout the entire bridge, and I promise you'll be safe. When you reach this snake enemy, run around him to the left. All of the snake's attacks don't actually have a hitbox until they reach in front of him. So while it's a bit scary, you'll actually always be safe. Turn left and run up the stairs and wait before running through the set of swinging obstacles. The reason you wait is so that this magic snake can fire a lightning bolt at you. If the lightning bolt misses all the swinging obstacles and hits the bricks in front of you, there's a good chance that the next projectile that he fires will be blocked by the swinging obstacles. Wait in between the 2 sets for the projectile to hit the obstacles, then charge forward and swing at the snake to the right. Always be ready to roll in case the lightning misses the first set of obstacles, but from my testing, this is a pretty safe strat. Then charge forward and swing at the snake to the right. You then want to knock the enemy out of the way so that you can run past. If you hit the snake straight on, there's a chance it'll activate the pressure plate and you'll get shot by arrows. When you reach this door, wait for a bit and this boulder here will just clip this snake. Then it's safe to run past. Be wary of the pressure plate in this narrow hallway. Immediately dodge to the right after you trigger it, as it will fire 3 arrows from behind. Once you enter this room, you're going to be waiting for a boulder to pass so that you can run up and change the direction of the boulder launcher. You can either kill the snake in this room or stall out until the boulder rolls past. Don't worry about being too strict on the boulder run, since we have a trick up our sleeve to make it much easier. Quitting out resets all enemies, but it also resets these boulders, allowing us to pass through with subpar timing. Once you've pushed the lever to change the direction of the boulder launcher, head back down the ramp that you came from to enter this room. You should have 7 Lloyd Talismans by this point, and this is why we got them. Mimics are enemies that mimic chests, and upon trying to open the chest, will grab the player and likely kill them. You can differentiate a mimic from a normal chest by the direction of its chain. A mimic's chain will always be forward, while a normal chest will always be backward. Lloyd Talismans put mimics to sleep and allow you to safely grab whatever object is inside them. We're looking for a special item dropped by mimics, the Symbol of Avarice. This item allows us to get more souls from enemies, but also slowly drains our health. This is needed for setting up the red Tearstone ring in order to do more damage in certain boss fights. Normally, the Symbol of Avarice would have a 10% chance of dropping every time you killed a mimic, with a guaranteed drop after 7 mimics killed. However, waking up and putting a mimic back to sleep with Lloyd Talismans counts towards this counter. And once you've repeated this cycle 7 times, you're guaranteed a Symbol of Avarice from the mimic. The best way that I've found to do this is to attack the mimic with a light attack and then step back slightly. You can't lock onto a mimic until it's fully stood up, so start your throwing animation and by pressing X or square the moment the mimic's legs appear. Then lock onto it as it's standing up. Once the mimic is asleep, spam the pick up item button in front of the mimic. If you don't get the Symbol of Avarice, repeat until you've done it 7 times. Note that the Symbol of Avarice won't have an indicator that you can pick it up, you'll just get it with an A press. I've messed up this strategy before, and if you do, it's not the end of the world. All mimics carry this counter universally. Consider 2 mimics. There's the one I've been talking about in Sen's Fortress, and there's the one near the entrance to Anor Londo. If you use 5 Lloyd Talismans on the mimic in Sen's Fortress, and 2 Lloyd's Talismans on the mimic in Anor Londo, adding up to 7 total Lloyd Talismans, the Anor Londo mimic will still give you the Symbol of Avarice, despite this counter being carried by 2 different mimics. If you somehow miss the symbol, it'll still be guaranteed every 7 times, so 14, 21, 28, and so on. Now that we have the symbol, head back up the boulder ramp and through this thin hallway here. You can either wait for the arrows to shoot and then run past, or be a man and just run straight through it, which is 100% consistent. Then you have 2 sets of swinging obstacles to deal with. The first one you can simply run straight through, and while you can run straight through the second one, I always wait between them for some reason. I don't know why, it just scares me. After passing these 2 bridges, I'd advise resting at this bonfire here. We're going to be jumping to the tower apart, and resting at this bonfire means that you'll only have to do the jump once. When reaching the upper level of the fortress, grab this soul, then perform a run and jump across this bridge. Stick to the left edge of the bridge to make sure that you get the most distance possible. In this tower is the Crestfallen Merchant, and he sells black firebombs. which we're going to need in all sorts of places during the second half of the game. I usually buy between 40 and 50, then head up to the top of the fortress. Before entering the Iron Golem Fog Gate, we're going to kill this giant up here. If you don't kill him, he'll throw giant firebombs at you during the Iron Golem boss fight. We're also going to use the red Tearstone ring on the Iron Golem, so I'd advise putting on the Symbol of Avarice preemptively to drain our health while fighting this giant. The safest way to kill this giant is to bait him into throwing a tantrum by walking up to the door and quickly dashing back. Ignore all of his attacks except for the one that makes this sound. Once the giant has thrown his tantrum, he'll be stunned on the ground for a bit, and this is your chance to hit him with 10 full reinforced club charge attacks, which with the club's bleed buildup should kill him in one cycle. Now we only have one challenge left between us and Anor Londo, the boss of Sen's fortress, the Iron Golem. The Iron Golem is one of the easier bosses in this run, but is still threatening nonetheless. Your DPS or damage per second is extremely important in this fight, so we're going to be using our entire arsenal to dish out as much damage as possible. Using the Symbol of Avarice, we can drain our health until you see the purple/red gemstone appear next to the Grass Crest shield buff. Make sure to take off the Symbol of Avarice so it doesn't kill you mid-fight. Then, buff your club with your last gold pine resin. The Iron Golem is made of, well, iron, so electricity is going to be strong against him. The Iron Golem is unique in that he has a special mechanic that you can stagger him if you deal enough damage to his legs within a 15-second window. Our main strategy for this fight is going to be knocking the Iron Golem over immediately so that he either falls off the arena or is stunned long enough that we can wail on him and defeat him before he has a chance to get up. Pause. I had just written out a full segment on how to deal with this boss, but when I was recording footage for this video, I just found like a way easier way. Alright, what's up gang? So I'm editing this video right now, and normally what I do when I'm covering a boss, I'll always get footage of the boss with like no HUD so it looks good. And I was gonna talk about this whole strat here, but I just found a new strat while I was trying to film footage. So if we run up, that'll hit that. Walk through his legs and hit him 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, guaranteed stagger every single time. 100% consistent. And then boom, done. I had this whole strat laid out about how you had to always dodge his axe over here and then bait out like grabs and stuff, but no. 100% consistent right there. Easy as that. Sick, dude. That was a little fast, so let's break this down step by step. This is the first time that I found a 100% consistent strat for the Iron Golem with the build that we're using. Note that this is probably a damage-specific strategy, so the build that we're using during this run, again, is a Reinforced Club +5 with Gold Pine Resin and the Red Tearstone Ring active. When the fight starts, run forward and left. The Iron Golem will always shoot a projectile before doing any other attacks. This projectile will either hit the pile of rubble in front of you or shoot past it and miss behind you. You can roll for safety here if you'd like, but it isn't required. Then, as you approach the Iron Golem, walk between his legs to regain your stamina. Then, once your stamina bar is full, hit his right leg with 3 light attacks. This will always stagger the Iron Golem, and depending on RNG, he may or may not fall off the bridge after you make him fall. If he doesn't fall off the bridge, we're going to try and make sure we can kill him before he has a chance to stand up. To do this, we're going to extend the phase in which he's stumbling to get 2 extra hits. This phase is normally a DPS check, and if you can't do enough damage, he'll actually regain his balance and won't fall over. However, we can control this by getting more damage in this phase to extend the period in which we're beating on him. To do this, we're going to extend the phase in which he's stumbling to get 2 extra hits. This is done by hitting his left leg twice first, then his right leg twice. Hitting his right leg should cause him to fall over, in which case he'll either fall off the bridge or fall down depending on specific timings. Regardless of where he falls, you're going to win anyway. If he doesn't fall off the bridge, wail on him with light attacks and his health bar should be depleted before he has a chance to get up and attack. The Iron Golem was originally a really sketchy encounter that was heavily RNG based, but with this strat, he's almost as easy as like Ceaseless. Remember to put on the Symbol of Avarice after defeating the Iron Golem to gain 8,000 more souls from this boss encounter. Then, when you're ready, touch the Ring of Light in the center of the arena because it's time to go to Anor Londo. Anor Londo is known as one of the hardest areas to pass in the Souls franchise, with any simple mistake leading to immediate death.
Ah!
Told you.
Luckily, I figured out some routes that can get you through the sketchy part of Anor Londo pretty consistently. Start by resting at the first Anor Londo bonfire and putting on the Ring of Favor and Protection. We won't need to use both of our ring slots again until 4 Kings, so we can use the Ring of Favor all throughout Anor Londo. Along with a significant health and stamina bonus, the Ring of Favor also boosts our equip load, allowing us to carry the gold-hemmed black cloak and skirt for extra damage reduction. Once your loadout is all set, head down the first elevator. Don't bother fighting this gargoyle, instead immediately descend to the left onto this thin pillar-like roof thing. This next section is typically pretty tricky, as you have to narrowly avoid all of the painted guardians while balancing on very thin platforms and bridges. However, we have a strategy to completely bypass this area. When shooting a bow in Dark Souls, wherever the arrow lands, sound is emitted. Enemies in Dark Souls are programmed to follow the nearest sound if the player isn't in their line of sight, even if that sound leads them to death. So we can eliminate all 3 of the painted guardians in this way. For the first guardian, stand next to the ladder and aim at the second flat portion on these archways here. Note that you can press up on the D-pad to zoom in with your bow. Shoot, and when the arrow hits, the painted guardian should follow the noise. Then walk up to the chandelier and shoot the left painted guardian in the head. This will cause him to stagger and fall off. For the last painted guardian, shoot at this flat wall right here, and he will walk off chasing the sound. Rotate the mechanism in the center, and now it's time to deal with one of the most dangerous areas in the game. I call this area Anor Londo. Starting off, this section here is one of the most dangerous places in the entire game, and isn't very consistent when just going down the stairs and rolling. However, if you jump the railing on the left, then simply run past all the demons, none of them will be able to hit you. Make sure that when you're on these bridges between towers, always look behind you at the demons from the previous platform, as they can shoot lightning javelins at you that you need to roll through. As you approach the second area of demons, make sure to wait for movement by this demon here, as he can sometimes delay his attacks quite a bit. These Silver Knight archers here are often a major problem for new players, but I personally find them a lot easier to deal with than the demons. To deal with them, run up until your back is to this building here. The archer on the left won't be able to hit you at this point. This entire area here is where the left archer can hit you, so you want to wait until you hear the left archer shoot, then bolt past this danger zone. Once you've reached the third window, you're safe from the left archer. Now, just roll through the right archer's arrows until he decides to pull out his sword and shield. He'll charge at you, falling off and killing himself in the process. This ends the hard part of Anor Londo, but we still have one more thing to do before we take on the greatest duo in gaming history. Our reinforced club is getting a bit old at this point, and it's time to get a new weapon. We need to get to the giant blacksmith. This would normally require going on the roof of the cathedral and battling many Silver Knights along the way, but this tech skips that entire section of the game. Simply run and jump on the railing of the spiral staircase to land on the second floor. Then you can run to the giant blacksmith with no danger. Talk to the giant blacksmith and purchase 8 twinkling titanite from him. You should now have 10 in total. If need be, you can pop the boss souls from Quelagg and the iron golem. Make sure that you have the weapons smith box as well, as you'll need to reinforce our newest weapon at the bonfire. Once you've confirmed you have the smith box and 10 twinkling titanite, it is time to do the act.
Tis not good, but forward, either anytime. Tis not the one of everyone.
It really sucks that you have to kill one of the coolest NPCs for this run, but after I had lost 2 runs to Gwyn and was 50 hours in, you kinda start to lose all feeling towards this game. Hit the giant blacksmith with a charge attack using your club, then kill him with black firebombs from the safety of the stairs. Once you've picked up the giant blacksmith hammer, homeward back to the bonfire and reinforce it to +5. This is going to be our weapon for the rest of the run, and it's the strongest melee weapon that you can wield at SL1. With the Ring of Favor, our new weapon, and this optimal armor configuration, you're ready to fight the next boss. These dudes must have wanted revenge for what we did to the giant blacksmith, because in all of Dark Souls, I have never fought a boss as hard as Ornstein and Smough.
You better die, you better die, you better die, you better die, you better die.
In any challenge run, whether it's no hit, no death, SL1, or whatever, Ornstein and Smough are likely to be your most consistent failure point. This is my favorite boss in all of gaming, and I like it so much because of how perfectly designed it is. No matter how hard I try and think outside the box like I do for other games, or even within this game, there's no way around it with ONS. Beating this fight comes down to raw skill. The reason that this fight is so good and so well designed is because of how well Ornstein and Smough cover each other. Ornstein is fast and can dash around the arena lightning quick, while Smough is slow, except for his fucking dash attack, but hits like a truck. When you end up killing one, the other one absorbs their power and phase 2 begins. Now, I know I said absorbed in the video, but I just want to point out how raw this is. When you kill Smough first, Ornstein politely puts his hand on Smough and then absorbs his power. You kill Ornstein first? Peep this dude's hand. His hand is still moving. Bam! Gone. Where's the respect? He just killed him. So you have to stick to either Ornstein or Smough during phase 1 and focus on only one of them. Unfortunately for us during this SL1 challenge, we don't have a choice who we fight. The giant blacksmith hammer does lightning damage, and Ornstein, as a fighter that uses lightning, is naturally resistant to it. So we don't want to fight Super Ornstein. In a normal no-hit or no-death run, we'd be using the Crystal Halberd in this fight, which can kill Ornstein in 3, count them, 3 hits.
Goddamn dick! Let's go!
With the blacksmith hammer and no red tearstone ring, he dies in 16, count them, 16 hits. If you're going for no hit and using the red tearstone ring, it's a bit more manageable with only 7 hits required, but this still means you have absolutely no insurance and you can't get hit at all. There is one positive to this weapon though. Ornstein and Smough have really low poise, and the blacksmith hammer deals quite a bit. You hit Ornstein twice in quick succession, he'll stagger, allowing for a quick escape or more damage. Use this to your advantage, as on very rare occasions, you can get 3 to 4 hits on Ornstein when Smough is on the complete other opposite side of the arena. The upside of this fight is that phase 1 is the only challenge. I'll talk more about phase 2 later, but absorbed Smough is really stupid and not really a threat without Ornstein around. Now for the strategy. Ornstein is much more of a threat than Smough in the first phase. 1, because we have to kill him in order to progress, but 2, he's much quicker and has far more moves. Though I've stressed this before, the biggest issue that new players have with this fight is relying on the lock-on system. Locking on and rolling backwards may allow you to survive the first half of the game, but it will always get you killed here. You need to always have both Ornstein and Smough on your screen at all times. Never get sandwiched between them, and always keep an eye on both of them. This is really important for when they both attack at the same time. A small adjustment in your roll timing can be the difference between life and death. Ooh! Oh, that was nasty. Oh my god. What a dodge. If you're having trouble moving the camera, try out the claw playstyle. This is how I play, and it allows you to simultaneously run and roll with your index finger while moving the camera with your thumb. The other aspect of your playstyle that this fight is really going to test is your patience. It can take a really long time to get an opening on Ornstein, and if you're going with the safe option of no RTSR for the Ring of Favor and Protection, this fight is likely going to take 7 to 10 minutes. Take this as a rule of thumb. Only go for attacks on Ornstein when you know for certain that you won't get checked by Smough on the end leg of your attack. While this may sound like a no-brainer, Smough can act a lot faster than you would think sometimes, and if you're too greedy with your hits, he'll kill you instantly. This clip right here is a perfect example of why you need patience so much in this fight. Ornstein is very low health, he's 2 hits away from dying, so I'm gonna get impatient and try and kill him as fast as possible. Smough starts a charge here, and he's very close, but I still go for a second hit on Ornstein to try and finish the fight. I should have just backed off knowing that Smough can check me. I go for the hit and get whooped by Smough. Uh-oh. Now that I'm on the ground and backed against a wall with Smough right there, he decides to do a second charge, which there's almost nothing you can do there. Again, if I would have just ran away after getting that one safe hit, I wouldn't have died here. Oftentimes, you'll need to bait Ornstein into doing a dash attack in order to get him a good distance away from Smough in order to actually get a safe hit on him. But it's important to watch as he has 3 separate dash attack variations. He can either dash forward with no lightning and a one-handed stab, which travels a fixed distance, dash forward with a 2-handed lightning stab, which travels an even greater fixed distance, or he can do his infinite charge. This move is notoriously glitchy.
How does he always geek, bro?
He won't stop his dash forward until he's in range and can swing at you. But when something is in the way, like a pillar, Smough, or a wall, he'll stand still and turn before dashing right toward you again. This can be really scary and janky, since it's hard to tell when he's about to DBZ teleport straight in front of you. The best advice I can give in countering this attack is to watch for when Ornstein spins his spear behind his head. This is the tell for the infinite charge and means you should be ready to dodge once he reaches you. It also makes a swooshing sound as he spins it. Regardless of what charge variation Ornstein does, these are going to be your openings to punish, and this is where a bit of RNG comes in. Ornstein can stop after a charge and allow you to hit him, or immediately cancel into 1 to 3 backsteps. These are usually towards wherever Smough is, which means your opportunity to hit him is gone. You can either try to predict these backsteps to land a risky hit, or wait until Ornstein doesn't do any backsteps for some guaranteed damage. Another note for Ornstein, be really careful of this two-handed stab attack. It comes out deceptively fast and Ornstein can decide to kill you with it. Once you're hit with the first hit of the stab, there's a 50% chance he can follow up with a second stab and kill you. It's a completely true combo with the poise that we have right now, so you're entirely at Ornstein's mercy. In my winning run, he actually decided to let me live, so thanks Ornstein. Okay, thank you. Oh my god, thank you. While Ornstein is the main focus and threat, Smough is no slacker. If you're familiar at all with this fight, then this sound should bring back some rough memories. This is Smough's charge attack, and it's extremely dangerous. If it doesn't kill you right away, it'll often stun you long enough to be in striking distance of both Ornstein and Smough, which usually leads to death. Unlike Ornstein's charge, however, Smough's charge only has one variation, and it's stopped by his biggest weakness, pillars. These pillars in the arena will stay useful even when destroyed. When Smough's charge comes in contact with a pillar, he'll end the charge early to go back to his normal patterns. Smough spams this attack a lot, so it's important that you always keep a pillar between yourself and Smough. During the second phase of the fight, you'll just be fighting Smough, and here is where we really abuse the weakness to pillars. Camp behind the pillar of choice and start baiting out attacks from Smough. If he does the charge, let him run into the pillar and you won't be in any danger. If he does any other attack, dodge it and counter with a running attack before darting back behind the pillar to continue the cycle. Be wary of his jumping attack. It's no threat in phase 1, but gains lightning as an AoE attack in phase 2. While it's one of his most dangerous moves, it has the largest amount of end lag, usually allowing you to punish with a charged R2. I won't be covering Super Ornstein in this video since we never fight him in this run, but I could honestly make a whole video on these two, so if you'd like to see that, let me know. I also have to mention that there's a glitch that you can use to cheese the first phase of this fight. If you lure the Silver Knight Archer up to the Fog Gate, then parry his attack and riposte with your fist, you'll enter the boss fight without entering the Fog Gate. Then run back and rest at the bonfire, and Ornstein and Smough will both be frozen in place. I banned this tech for my challenge, but if you're really struggling, it is a viable option. With that said, I'd like to share a montage of one of my Ornstein and Smough fights. This fight isn't from the winning run, but it's a perfect example of just how chaotic this fight is, and how much skill is demanded to pass it. I should have just backed off knowing that Smough could check me. In the years that I have played this game, I have never, not in Dark Souls 3 with Gale, not in Dark Souls 2 with Sir Alan, nowhere, I have never had a fight that intense in my entire life. Oh my god. I'd be so mad if this isn't the run, because that's like a prophecy right there. That was... I need some water. Oh my god. Ornstein and Smough are finally defeated. That was like a fifth of the guide, holy shit. However, with the greatest challenge comes the greatest reward. Once you're finished in the bedchamber, either talk to Guinevere to get the Lord Vessel or kill her, which is the faster option. Obtaining the Lord Vessel begins the second half of the game and now allows us to teleport between bonfires. The main objective now is obtaining the 4 Lord Souls, which are held by the 4 Kings, Gravelord Nito, Seath the Scaleless, and the Bed of Chaos. The game allows you to do these fights in any order, but based on the route that we're using, we'll fight the 4 Kings first, followed by Nito, then Seath, then the Bed of Chaos. The only 2 that you could switch in this order would be Nito and the 4 Kings, since we need items from Nito in order to pass Seath's and the Bed of Chaos' area. But I always choose to fight the 4 Kings first. Usually in these runs, I always do the hardest bosses before the easier ones, and the 4 Kings are the hardest out of these 4 Lord Soul bosses. Before we go on to fight the 4 Kings, we have to grab the Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring. Located in Sen's Fortress, this ring will help in the later half of the game. It makes the player completely silent when moving, which in combination with a ring that we'll get later, allows us to bypass a lot of enemy interactions. Because of all the tools that we have at our disposal, I generally consider the second half of the game to be significantly easier than the first, at least until the last 2 bosses. In order to get the Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring, warp to the Undead Parish bonfire and run through Sen's until you get to the boulder mechanism. I won't go over how to get here again since I already talked about Sen's in detail, but note that the boulder mechanism will reset and you'll have to turn it again. Then drop between this broken pillar and the wall to do a plunging attack on this snake here. Run across the boards and wait at the edge for this snake at the bottom to kill himself. I was never able to understand the programming of this snake, but he'll just tweak out and eventually fall off the edge. Then drop down and grab the Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring on this corpse here. With the Slumbering Ring in hand, we're now ready to fight Ceaseless. Don't worry about putting it on yet, we'll use it in combinations in the later portion of the game. We need to defeat Ceaseless in order to get the Covenant of Artorias, which allows us to not die in the Abyss when fighting the 4 Kings. To reach Ceaseless, go through the door in Darkroot Garden that we used to get the Ninja Flip Ring, and run past all of the Forest Hunters while sticking to the left wall. Go through Alvina's shack, and you should see a bright light at the end of the forest. This is Ceaseless' door. Run towards it and open it. Going near the large sword in the middle of the arena will trigger the boss fight, but right before doing that, go behind the Gravestone of Artorias and grab the Hornet Ring. Now, you're ready to start the fight. Ceaseless is either an extremely difficult or extremely easy boss depending on the kind of run you're doing. If you're going for a no-death SL1, this boss is stupid easy, but if you're going for a no-hit run, Ceaseless becomes much harder. The reason for this is what's actually considered as getting hit in a no-hit run. Taking fall damage or poison damage doesn't count as getting hit, but getting staggered by enemies does. Ceaseless jumps around the arena a lot, and if any of his legs hit you mid-jump, it'll count as a stagger and therefore a hit. For this reason, during no-hit runs, you only want to punish Ceaseless' overhead slams. This is most commonly seen during the 3-hit combo, in which you can safely punish him with an R2. All of his other attacks are unsafe for staggers if you get bad RNG. If you aren't worried about getting staggered, then play as aggressively as possible. Always roll towards Ceaseless and wail on him from underneath. He has no seriously damaging attacks that can reach under him. The only seriously concerning attack in this fight is his dash attack. This attack comes out really fast and is a bit hard to dodge. The reason it's so dangerous is that he can mix up his timing by stopping in front of you to do a 3-hit combo, rather than following through with the dash attack. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you on Sif? On fucking Sif? So your reflexes have to always be on point. Never drop your guard and always play aggressive, and this boss overall shouldn't be a problem.
The mutt is dead. It does not take long these days.
Now with the Covenant of Artorias, we can venture through New Londo and take on the 4 kings. Take the elevator down from Firelink Shrine and start heading toward the docks. Make sure as you're heading to the bridges to break this vase and get the 2 transient curses on the corpse. This is an item that allows you to kill ghosts, and we'll need to kill if you're on our way to 4 kings. Pop a transient curse and head across the bridge. You can bypass these first 2 ghosts by simply hugging the right wall of this area. A lot of players get jumped in this area, but there's actually a 100% consistent way to get through it. Don't stop running and hit the front ghost blocking the door with a running attack. All of the ghost's attacks are slow and you'll always hit them before they can hit you, and your hammer will always one-shot them. Then you want to walk against the wall on these stairs here. Typically, this ghost right here would be waiting for you around the corner to sneak attack you, but by walking here, it puts you in a much better spot. Once you reach the staircase, take out your bow and firebombs. We're going to kill the NPC on top of the roof in order to avoid getting jumped inside the ghost house. Stand on the edge of the flat portion on top of the stairs, then aim your bow at the NPC and move the camera as far up as you can. Then let go and throw a black firebomb. If done properly, it will hit him. Once you've hit him with 1 black firebomb, shoot him in the head with your bow. If done properly, he'll now be running against the railing. Simply repeat the firebomb step until he's dead. As you're trying to set all of this up, there will be 2 ghosts trying to attack you. I'd advise killing them both if you can, since it makes this process much easier. Try and bait them to attack you, then chase them as they run away to kill them. Once you've got the key to the seal, head through the hallway in the ghost house and run around this corner on the outside. Then open up the water tower and push the lever. At this point, we finally have to say goodbye to the Ring of Favor and Protection. The upgraded rolling speed of the Ninja Flip is going to be needed in the 4 Kings. You can try and keep it for this fight, but we need to take it off anyway when going through the Tomb of the Giants. From here on, I'm going to leave a small indicator on the bottom right of the screen on what rings you should have equipped during that portion of the game. Make sure that you have the Covenant of Artorias equipped, then drop off this broken edge here next to these stairs. Perform a roll cancel and run straight to the Fog Gate. Also, roll immediately to the right as you enter the Fog Gate, because there will be ghosts directly behind you. The 4 Kings are, in my opinion, the 3rd hardest boss in this challenge. But the only reason that they have this ranking is just pure RNG. There is one singular attack from this fight that turns it from stupid easy to stupid difficult, and it's known as the homing magic.
Well, you would not, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my god, that was gross. That was disgusting. That was actually vile. That was a vile move right there. The way that the 4 Kings work is through a time-based system. Every 45 seconds, a new king will spawn into the abyss. This means that it is absolutely essential to kill the current king as fast as possible. If you have to fight 2 at once, you're pretty much dead. So keeping up with this 45-second period is doable, so long as they don't do the homing magic attack. The homing magic attack stays out for 15 seconds and homes in on you with ridiculous accuracy. And since you're always rolling through the king's attacks and constantly changing your direction, it's bound to hit you. Like Sith, this is where the strategies for no death and no hit differ drastically. If you're doing a no death run, you can survive a magic blast attack. So stay close to the king and try to avoid the magic blast the best you can. If you get hit,
Continue to dodge the king's melee attacks and land damage. We'll cover these melee attacks in depth more later. And heal once you've defeated the current king. If you're doing a no-hit run, you obviously cannot get hit by the magic blast, so run away from the king until the blast fades, then move in for the attack. In a no-hit run, you'll be using the red Tearstone ring instead of the Darkwood Grain ring, so killing the kings quickly isn't a problem. When you're running away, always try to run in the direction that you came from. The Abyss isn't infinite, and if you get stuck on a wall, you're pretty much dead. But the Bones 5 YouTube channel on YouTube, it's a ranged attack. The kings won't do it if you're close, I hear you asking. Unfortunately, they can. However, we can reduce the chance of it. The 4 kings will always spawn in the same places every single fight. In order to start the fight with the best chance possible of not getting the magic attack, go down the stairs leading to the Abyss and stop at the second platform. Then walk off of it. This will point you in the direction of the first king. As you land, perform a roll cancel and buffer a run. When your stamina bar reaches its last quarter, quickly drop an item from your inventory. This will be our reference point for the rest of the fight. Here is a diagram of where the 4 kings spawn. It's extremely important that you get as close as possible to each king's spawn point as you can, since it reduces the chance of a homing magic attack as much as possible. Assuming that the direction you run towards the first king is north, the second king will spawn west of the item you placed, and the third and fourth kings will spawn east and further east. Assuming they didn't do any magic attacks, here's how you can actually fight the kings. They have 4 sword attacks and 2 magic attacks up close. The most dangerous of the 4 melee attacks is the overhead slash. Roll through it once and watch for the king to raise his sword up. This means he's going to attack again, and you should get ready to roll the opposite direction. This attack is safe to punish with 1 light attack. A very similar attack is this horizontal slash. The same principle applies here. Roll through the sword and watch for the king to rise up, indicating a second attack. If the king does both attacks on this move, it's safe to punish with 2 light attacks. If he only does 1 attack, you can only punish with 1 light attack. The king's last 2 melee attacks are very similar. An overhead slash going straight in front of the king, and a straightforward stab. If you're in close enough, you can strafe around these without rolling to punish with 2 light attacks. If you're a bit farther away, roll out of the way and punish with 1 light attack. In addition to these 4 attacks, the kings also have 2 magic attacks. The first is an AoE explosion, and the second is a grab attack. They both have very similar tells, starting with a spin and a purple magic aura. The grab attack will have an open hand / wing, whereas the AoE explosion will have a closed hand and charge for longer. These attacks are both dealt with in similar ways. The grab attack can only travel in one direction, so once you make some distance between yourself and the king, simply roll to the right or left and the grab should miss. For the AoE explosion, simply run away and wait for it to disappear. Another general tip for the 4 kings, their hitboxes don't disappear right after they die, so you can still damage the overall health bar by wailing on the kings as they fade away. You do so much damage in the no-hit version of this fight that by doing this strategy, you can actually only fight 3 kings. This is a lot of information to cover, so I'm going to do a live commentary example of how to do this fight. I'll make a map that shows where I am in the arena, so it makes more sense how I'm using the reference points. Alright, this is a live commentary example of the 4 kings fight, since I didn't really feel like talking into a script, so we're just gonna do this. We're gonna fight them live, and then I'll tell you what's going on. I'm doing the no-hit version of this strategy, because it allows me more time to explain things, so I'm doing more damage. So, we're going on the second platform of the well here, and we're gonna walk straight off, and this will face us north, so facing towards the first king. And this will give us the best chance of not getting magic on the first king. So we're going to run forward. And when our stamina bar reaches that last quarter, we're going to drop an item. So right now. Menu was a little slow there, but it's okay. We do get magic here, unfortunately. I'm going to try and just fight him normally with it. We got pretty good luck there, so we're good with the magic. So this is the item here, and that king is north, so we're going to want to go west for the next king, so we're going to turn this way. And the next king should be in this general area, because this is west, if that's north. Yep, and he's right here. Okay, we get an AoE explosion. That's fine. Just run away. Get back up close. Gonna strafe that because we're far away. Don't need to roll there. And then, boom. So he died here, and that's our reference point. So we want to go opposite of the second king, because the third king is east. So we're gonna just run straight past that item there and go opposite of, you know, west where the second king was. So the third king should be roughly around here. Okay, I was a little off my angle there, but he shouldn't do magic. So we're good anyway. It was still in the general direction of it. Again, it's a little hard to do because you can't get the angles exactly right every time, but it was pretty close. Okay. Now, he just died here, and that's right there. The fourth king will spawn more east than he was, so we're just gonna run away from the item right there. And boom, there's the fourth king. Okay. So there we go, that was the fight no hit. Now I do want to say I didn't play that exactly correct. I played because I wanted to show the example of how you can like find them using the item and the directions. But if they do magic like that, if the first king does magic, you don't want to like aggressively go after him like I did. You want to run away from it. It's way safer to run away. But I just did that so I could show where all the different kings would spawn. So that was just more of an example to show how you can track them with the item and the directions. And I'll probably put like a map or some shit on the bottom of the screen. So yeah, that's how you did the four kings fight no hit and no death. Make sure as you're leaving the Abyss to talk to Koth and place the Lord Vessel. Now it's time to head to the Catacombs for Gravelord Nito. This is normally a really tedious area, but we pretty much skip all of it. Start by heading into the graveyard and Firelink Shrine. Run past all of the enemies here. Make sure to equip the Slumbering Dragon Crest ring here, as these red skulls are audio based. Lure the skeleton waiting on the stairs up and then kill him. Head down the stairs and drop onto this pile of bones. Then head through the hallway on the left and through the hole in the wall. Always be ready to roll here. This necromancer can fire immediately as he sees you. Kill the necromancer and push this lever here. Then rest at the bonfire or quit out to reset the area. These necromancer enemies are what keeps the skeletons respawning, so we're gonna have to kill this one here in order to kill the 3 skeletons ahead. Take out your bow and aim slightly below the crack in the rock face, and then use firebombs to kill the necromancer. You can then use the bow to individually lure all the skeletons over to you to one-shot them with your hammer. Be really careful of their rolling attack, as it travels an insane distance and can hit up to 4 times. Okay. Holy shit, okay. You're scary as hell, oh my god. Dude, this skeleton. Bro's a boss in himself, Jesus, that was terrifying. Now we're going to perform the Catacomb skip. Run across this bridge and make sure that you have the Ninja Flip ring and the Slumbering Dragon Crest ring equipped. Turn around on the right side and wait until no red skulls are near the platform below. Then roll forward and roll cancel left. This may seem like you barely survived with any health, and that's because fall damage is percentage based, so don't worry, you will always survive this. The next ledge we drop off of will have a bone wheel enemy. Simply plunge attack it on your way down. Because of the slumbering ring, this bone wheel won't even know that you're there, and you can run to pinwheel for free. When you enter the pinwheel fog gate, heal up and get ready to spam the roll button. The cutscene activates just before you touch the ground, so you want to mash roll, then skip the cutscene and mash roll again. Then do a running attack and 2 light attacks, and Pinwheel should die before he has a chance to attack you. Defeating Pinwheel unlocks the Tomb of the Giants, generally the most hated area in the entire game. Once again, the Bones 5 YouTube channel on YouTube has you covered. I found ways to skip both the first and second half of the Tomb of the Giants. For the first half, run the path of the colored prism stones. You'll be met with a giant skeleton up the path. Don't bother rolling, simply run past him and he has no attacks that can hit you if you maintain top running speed. Then walk a bit to the right of this prism stone here and walk. Do not roll off this ledge here. You'll land on a slope and either slide down next to a corpse or onto the giant tomb. The corpse has a humanity on it, so it's worth picking up. And that was the entirety of the first half of the Tomb of the Giants. You're now at the first bonfire. This area is normally extremely dangerous with tons of giant skeletons and dark areas, but this route eliminates all risk. Around 2 giant skeletons right here. Gonna roll. Uh-oh. Oh. There it goes. There's the run. God damn it. Oh my god. It's Tomb of the Giants, I think, is the... I would have had Nito, and then I would now just drop off the platform and head over to the rope ladder to rest at the bonfire. Make sure that you rest at the bonfire, not just light it. Then go over to the ledge and let Patches kick you down. Pick up the skull lantern and homeward bone back up to the bonfire. Interestingly, the skull lantern is one of the items that you can trade with Snuggly and Crow for a valuable item. Warp back to Firelink and walk off the elevator that would take you to the Gargoyles. Then roll off this ledge onto the support beam. Walk up to the crow's nest and you'll have to lay down and wait. Then you'll be taken back to the Undead Asylum. When you arrive, head left over this hill in order to go straight to the nest. Do not, and I repeat, do not go anywhere near these torch hollows. Deadass, these things are probably the strongest enemies in the entire game. Ornstein and Smough, get out. 4 Kings, get out. These f***ers can one-shot you with literally no warning. No, 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 no. Are you serious? Are you actually serious? Stay away from torch hollows. If one of them somehow notices you, quit out immediately to break the line of sight. These f***ers down there, they will one-hit me. They will one-shot you on everything. He sees me, quitting out. Don't care.
Real.
I am going to cheese them until death. I don't give a. Oh, you see me again? I got on here. Shut up. I need to quit out. Once you've reached Snuggly and Crow's nest, drop the skull lantern, and then quit out to reset the area. This will make the trade happen automatically, and you can pick up the Ring of Fog. The Ring of Fog is absolutely amazing combined with the Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring. The Ring of Fog decreases your visibility, and the Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring silences your movement, which makes you much harder to detect. Once you've got the Ring of Fog, homeward back up to the Tomb of the Giants bonfire. Bitch out Patches for a Twin Humanities by saying no to his offer. Don't kill him, since we'll need him as a merchant in Firelink later. This next section of the Tomb of the Giants might seem scary, but I promise with the Slumbering Ring and the Ring of Fog, we have a consistent strategy. After talking to Patches, hug the right wall. After talking to Patches, hug the right wall and run at full speed. With the Ring of Fog, the dog skeleton won't be able to detect you until you're already well past it. Then head through the first fog gate. Run forward and turn left towards the soul on the ground. Walk off the edge in front of the soul, then head around the edge of this platform next to this corpse. Then roll off the edge of this cliff onto this platform, and then roll off the platform to the path to Nito. Take in the beautiful view and then run forward to the underground cave area. None of the enemies in this area are a threat as they can barely see you. When you get to the group of pinwheels, roll past all of them into the fog gate. This area is a bit sketchy, so I'd spend as little time here as possible. Then enter the fog gate for Gravelord Nito, and that's it. Tomb of the Giants is complete. If you thought that was easy, we're about to make the boss even easier. Gravelord Nito is a moderately difficult boss that uses infinitely respawning skeletons to overwhelm the player. With our setup, he's more of a joke, to be honest. With the Ring of Fog and Slumbering Dragon Crest ring on, none of Nito's skeletons even know that we're here. As long as you don't get really close to them, they will never activate and you'll only have to fight Nito. If Nito looks like he's stuck behind his skeletons, you may have to wiggle around a little bit to get him to move more towards you, but he's not trapped and he's not soft locked, he will eventually untangle himself. As long as you don't get really close to the skeletons, they'll never activate and you'll only have to fight Nito. Without his skeletons, Nito is stupid easy. His only threatening attack, when you hear the scream and he stabs his sword into the floor, can be cheesed simply by blocking with anything that isn't a shield. I don't know why this works, I guess the hitbox is just perfectly aligned, but without this, Nito literally has no threatening attacks. All of his attacks are insanely slow, have small hitboxes, and are telegraphed. He was actually so easy that the first time I ever got hit by him in the 50 hours of playing was actually on the last winning run.
Whoa, I got hit by Nito. Holy shit. Oh my god. I just got hit by Nito.
The only attack I would ever watch out for is his AoE blast. It will kill you instantly, but I think you know by now that when a boss crouches down, something's about to explode. Go a bit further away for this one than the other bosses though. It's honestly a bit disappointing that Nito is so plot significant that he's a Lord Soul boss, but is just so underwhelming. But it's a good break from what we had to deal with before. Once you've bullied Nito enough, head over to Anor Londo to enter the Duke's Archives. Once you reach the entrance to the Archives, equip the Slumbering Ring and the Darkwood Grain Ring. Then lure the first pig to the edge of the Archives and kill him there. Like the first Black Knight, the pig can't go in this area, it's like a safe ring. Then equip the Ring of Fog and Slumbering Ring. Run across this line between these tiles and you'll be able to run straight past the second pig. Once you trigger the first elevator, go a bit to the left and then stop moving completely. As long as you never move, your character never produces any sound. We're going to use our bow here to lure all of the Crystal Guardians away from our path. Make sure the Slumbering Ring is unequipped, then continuously shoot arrows until all of the Crystal Guardians have gathered away from the stairs. Then put the Slumbering Ring back on and run up through the Archives. When you're behind this bookshelf here, wait for the channeler to shoot a charged blast, then run up the stairs with your back to the pillar. This will block any of his other attacks. If you've played Dark Souls before, you know that we have to do a scripted death to Seath and escape his prison. However, this is a no-death challenge. We are not dying today, my friend. Let me introduce you to the Seath skip. Not only does this skip dying and make the challenge possible, but it also skips a really annoying and tedious area of the game. To perform the Seath skip, take out your bow and set your brightness to max. Pull a lever to send the elevator up. This will properly line you up for the skip, so don't move with the left stick at all during this process. Aim your bow and line it up with this stain on the bottom right corner of the wood behind the lever. Then, when you're ready, send the elevator back down by pulling the lever. Immediately zoom back in with your bow and buffer a roll right, then forward and then backward. If done successfully, you'll now be on the railing of the elevator. Then, quickly turn and line up the right edge of your soul counter with this black bar along the corner of the wall. Now, you're waiting for this silver railing decoration to appear. Once this decoration is off your screen, roll forward and you'll land safely on the middle floor. This will take some practice to get used to, but once you've got the bow method down, it's pretty consistent. Do a running attack on this Crystal Guardian here and then run up to the rotating stairs. Wait for the channeler to fire a shot, then run down the stairs at full speed. When you reach this ladder, climb down immediately. Wait for the Crystal Guardian to shoot you, then slide down. If you slide down immediately, you have a chance of getting hit. Here you can open the shortcut and get the Duke's Archives bonfire, but I don't do that in this run because it's a permadeath run. When you open this staircase down, go off the right side and perform a plunging attack on this Crystal Knight here. If you don't kill him with this plunging attack, he can hit you while you're walking through the fog gate. Once you've reached Crystal Cave, simply follow the path of the crystals for the first half. Once you reach this area, you'll see snow falling on what seems to be an invisible path. Walk straight across to the path to the crystal with the golden golem on it. Then fall off the platform onto a second invisible platform and walk straight to the next section. Now, equip the symbol of avarice and drain your health in order to get the red Tearstone ring activated. We're going to need it in the Seath the Scaleless boss fight. Once your health is drained enough, equip the Ring of Fog and Slumbering Dragon Crest ring. Then run through the clams until you reach this corner. Then do not move at all. Unequip the Slumbering Dragon Crest ring and take out your bow. Lure the clams away from the boss fog gate by shooting the opposite wall. Then, once they're all far enough away from the entrance to the arena, run into the Seath fog gate. Now, it's time to fight the grandfather of sorcery, Seath the Scaleless. Oh shit. Oh, he's just dead. Damn. Like Nito, Seath is very easily cheesed. As you enter his arena, run the whole way over to his immortality crystal and equip the red Tearstone ring. Wait until Seath stops moving, then roll through the crystal to break it. Then run up to Seath's pain beacon, weak spot, and hit it with 3 light attacks. Recharge your stamina, then 2 light attacks and 1 heavy attack. Seath is really weak to the giant blacksmith hammer, so even at SL1 we deal insane damage. This will always kill him before he has a chance to do any attacks. With 3 out of the 4 Lord Souls obtained, we only have 1 left, the Bed of Chaos. We do this Lord Soul last for 2 reasons. First, the Ring of Fog allows us to skip many different encounters, and second, we need 30 humanity by this point in the game in order to open the shortcut door to skip the Demon Fire Sage and Centipede Demon. The Demon Fire Sage isn't too much of a problem, but the Centipede Demon is an RNG nightmare that we do not want to deal with this far in the run. Plus, getting the shortcut is much faster. Check your inventory to see how much humanity you have. If you have less than 30, buy some from Patches. He's located near Framped in the graveyard and can sell you 3 normal humanities and 1 twin humanity. If you still don't have enough, you can kill Patches and this bowl cut dude at Firelink to get some more humanity from each. Once you've got 30 humanity, run the whole way down through Blighttown back to the second bell. This run is a bit less stressful now that we have the Ring of Fog. We can completely bypass the thugs on the way there. Run down the stairs as if you were going to Ceaseless and you'll see a suspicious area absent of spider webs. These are illusory walls, and I'm honestly surprised this is the only one we encounter in this run. Roll into it to break the illusion. You'll have to talk to this dude in order to get to the fair lady. Just say yes to whatever he says and he'll let you through. This is the Daughter of Chaos bonfire and you can warp to it, so feel free to rest at it. Then talk to the fair lady and enter her covenant. Then offer 30 humanity to her. You'll know you've done enough when you get the pyromancy Chaos Storm. Now run down through the Demon Ruins. With the Slumbering Fog combo, this Capra Demon will always do the exact same attack. Just weave it and keep running. When you reach this ledge, roll off and roll cancel on the outside of this pillar. This makes sure that you don't trigger the centipede to come out of the wall. Run down the stairs and you'll be faced with this Taurus Demon. This is the one encounter in this area that you actually don't want the Fog Ring on for. Replace it with the Ninja Flip Ring here. This will make the Taurus Demon jump at you instead of doing a two-handed swing. The jump attack is much easier to dodge, simply just roll under its legs. When you roll into the Taurus Demon, make sure you're pretty far to the left, as there's a centipede on the right that can actually grab you and kill you. Then, switch back to the Fog Ring for the rest of this section. Turn right at the Fog Gate and open the shortcut door. You'll be faced with a Titanite Demon. Hit him with a light attack and run around whatever side he turns to. With the Slumbering Fog combo, he cannot hit you back fast enough. Turn left to run up this branch, then run up the stairs and hug the left wall. The Pyromancer guarding the Bed of Chaos Fog Gate won't even notice you until you're already well past. The Bed of Chaos is debatably the worst designed Souls boss in the entire series, and before I found out about this strat we're going to talk about, it was personally my least favorite. It's unfair, rage-inducing, and has one of the worst runbacks in Souls history. Of course, the Bones5 YouTube channel on YouTube has got you covered with a 100% guaranteed Bed of Chaos cheese strategy. As you're sliding down the ramp, make sure of a few things. First, unequip the hammer and the ninja flip ring. Then equip your bow and equip fire bombs. The moment you enter the arena, run straight forwards to the center of the Bed of Chaos. Find the center 2 stones that run along this curved, smooth edge. You can tell the center ones apart as they're the longest. Then count out 6 tiles. Once you're in this spot, you're in position to throw fire bombs. We're going to aim at really specific locations on the tree in order to get the perfect firebomb angles. Normally, how the Bed of Chaos works is you have to run to both sides of the boss and take out 2 smaller enemies in order to drop the shields on the main body of the Bed of Chaos. Here, we're going to use firebombs to take both of those out from the center. There is some difficulty to this strategy, however. Once you throw the first firebomb, you're on a time crunch to throw the second one as fast as possible. For this reason, practice moving to these branch locations with your bow quickly while you're safe here. Until you throw your first firebomb, the Bed of Chaos has no attacks that can hit you in this position, so take as much time as you would need to practice going to these locations quickly. For the left branch, align yourself with these 2 branches right here and put your bow reticle in the middle of the top one where it slightly bends. For the right branch, put your reticle at the peak of the top branch here where it bends. You can do this in either order, but personally, I prefer going left to right. Once you're ready, throw your first firebomb, then quickly aim at the second location and throw your second firebomb. Then, quickly dash behind this branch here. This is our safe zone when we're going to be waiting to bait out a specific attack. Some guides say that after throwing the second firebomb, you should just roll straight to the main body of the Bed of Chaos. However, this is not 100% consistent. There's a rare attack that the Bed of Chaos can do where it spews lava columns up from the ground and tracks the player. If the Bed of Chaos happens to do this attack while you're rolling through it, you can die.
What? No! No.
In order to make this strat 100% consistent, wait behind the branch and watch the Firebird on top of the Bed of Chaos. When the Firebird crosses its arms, it's going to do a standard fire attack. We're waiting for it to rise up and not cross its arms. Once it does, the Fire Pillar attack is coming. When you see it, calmly walk down the tree branch to the left of the safe zone to bait out all the fire pillars. Then, it's completely safe to run to the Bed of Chaos. I actually ended up choking here on one run since I was so nervous that I ended up rolling off the edge. At this point, you're about an hour and 45 minutes into the run, so there's a lot to lose.
No!
After you've baited out the Fire Pillar attack, just roll through all of the branches and punch the Bed of Chaos. Out of all of the cheese strats in this run, this one is one of the hardest. Make sure to practice the firebomb locations and how to look for the Firebird tail, and you should be able to consistently pull it off. Because this cheese strat is kind of difficult, I am going to do a live commentary boss fight of the Bed of Chaos right here. Commentary fight of the Bed of Chaos, because I don't feel like talking into the script again. Actually, no, this time it's more so because I think it actually does need it. So we're gonna unequip our hammer so we can get our fist out, and the Darkwood Grain Ring. You can either switch cancel or roll cancel here, doesn't really matter what it is. You have a pretty generous time window here. So pull out our fire bombs. And this is the last use of firebombs in the run, so if you have more than 2 or 2, you're good. So the center tiles here are the largest tiles. You see there's more of them exposed than the side tiles. So we're just gonna count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So with each of our feet in the 6 tiles, we're gonna aim and throw our firebombs. So I like to do the left one first, so we're gonna aim in the middle of that little bump and then go straight to the right one. So firebomb, over and right. I did that pretty fast, but I'm used to it, so okay. So now the Firebird's crossing its fingers, or its arms, and does that attack right there. We don't want that attack, we want the other attack. So we're gonna wait till it doesn't do an arm cross, and this can take a really long time. It's pretty uncommon for it to do the attack we want, so you can be here for a while. I might speed up the footage actually if it gets so serious. But this is the only way to do it 100% consistent. And I wouldn't bother looking at the tree at all. That's what I originally tried to do. Oh, here it goes. Okay. So we're just gonna calmly walk down and wait for all the pillars to go away. And now we're just gonna run to the Bed of Chaos. That wasn't too bad. I'm not gonna speed that up. And the reason we don't have the Darkwood Grain Ring on here is because it can't break these branches as fast. So, break these last branches and just punch, and Bed of Chaos is dead. That was our 4th Lord Soul, and we can now travel to the Lord Vessel and unlock the Kiln of the First Flame, which in my opinion is the most beautiful area in the entire game. Let's just take a minute.
Beautiful area.
I'm 4 5-frame windows away from victory. Moving through here is pretty simple. I like to run the Darkwood Grain Ring and the Slumbering Ring here. There are 5 Black Knights we have to pass in this area. The first you can deal with by getting the high ground on him, then just rolling past him. The second Knight will likely try to stab you, just roll or strafe around his attack. Just run around the 3rd Knight on the bridge, don't really bother rolling, then strafe around the 4th and 5th Knights. Roll if you have to. Once you've passed all of them, quit out to reset their spawns. And once you're outside the Fall Gate, use the Symbol of Avarice to drain your health and get the red Tearstone Ring activated. Then put on the red Tearstone Ring and the Hornet Ring. You are now ready. Throughout this video, you may have noticed that I haven't mentioned one boss the entire time. This boss has cost me more hours of my life than any video game enemy ever has, and who else could it be but Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. Now, some like to claim that for a game like Dark Souls, Gwyn is too easy of a final boss.
Well, I have a rebuttal. Bullshit!
Gwyn may be an easy boss with your Crystal Halberd and 40 vitality levels, but trying to SL1 Gwyn with the giant blacksmith hammer is as hard as it gets. I mentioned earlier that Ornstein and Smough were the hardest bosses in the game, and I still do believe that, but in this specific challenge, Gwyn is number 1. Gwyn is the only boss in the entire game where parrying is pretty much required. You know, the mechanic where you willingly put yourself in front of danger to land a hit. But that isn't all. You have to land parries and two-handed riposts 5 separate times. This is a 0.26 second window that you have to hit 5 times in a row with the pressure of 2 hours of nearly perfect gameplay on you. I failed here not once, but twice to Gwyn. You're not only battling one of the most technical bosses in the game, but also your own mental state and nerves. To top it off, he's resistant to your weapon, so you have to fight him for double the normal length. With all that said, what is the strategy for Gwyn? To understand how to beat Gwyn, we first need to talk about parries and two-handed riposts. I haven't even touched on parrying at all in this guide before, since there isn't really a reason to. No bosses can be parried outside of him. Parrying is when you press the left trigger on your controller and your character will slap enemies' attacks away from them. This is a precise window to hit, but it comes with great reward. If the enemy you're fighting is able to be parried, they become staggered on a successful parry. then you can perform a riposte animation for massive damage. This is done by pressing the light attack button while not running and facing the enemy while they're in the staggered state. While this may sound simple, parrying and ripostes like this will get us jack shit for damage on Gwyn. We have to stack the red Tearstone ring, Hornet ring, and two-handing to even make a dent in Gwyn's health bar. This means that we're required to do this fight no-hit, but also do two-handed ripostes. Two-handed ripostes are done by first parrying the attack on the enemy, then locking off of that enemy, switching to two-handing your weapon, locking back on or running up close to the enemy, and then riposting. For some reason, the game won't allow you to riposte two-handed in the same lock-on, so you're required to lock on and off. To slow the inputs down, you first parry by pressing the left trigger, then press Y or triangle to two-hand your weapon, then double tap the right stick to lock off and lock on, then light attack to riposte. This is a pretty tight timing window and is really hard to get the hang of at first, and even harder to perform under the pressure of a full run. But this is only the second half of the battle. The first is actually landing the parries on Gwyn. Gwyn has 7 attacks, 3 that are short range and 4 that are long range. For his short range attacks, he has a fast slash, a slow slash, and a grab. These attacks are extremely inconsistent and hard to react to, so in our strategy, we're going to eliminate them entirely. The long range attacks are all fairly similar with slightly different timings. Gwyn can do a big jump, small jump, a glide and slash, or a stab. These are much easier to parry and is how we'll be damaging Gwyn during the fight. When the fight first begins, run the moment you enter the fog gate and then stop and get ready to parry. Gwyn will always do either a big jump or a small jump upon starting the fight. For both the big and small jumps, you want to parry right as Gwyn is about to touch the ground. When he does a small jump, you may have to run a bit more forward, as the hilt of the sword is easier to parry. You do not need to do a two-handed riposte on this attack. I would honestly just recommend doing a one-handed riposte, since it will even out his health bar. Plus, two-handed ripostes are inconsistent on the first attack. Once Gwyn is on the ground, we're going to get him in cycle. As Gwyn is getting up, lock back onto him and rotate around to his back. Wait for him to fully stand up and then roll backwards 3 times. Gwyn's AI registers the player's location the moment he stands up, and will cue one of the short-range attacks for him the moment he's out of his end lag. By the time he's able to attack again, you will have already rolled back 3 times and be completely safe. And then he just looks schizo attacking nothing. As he's doing his short attack, walk backwards slowly. Once his short attack animation is finished, start walking forwards. This will usually result in Gwyn running forward for a bit, then doing one of his long range attacks. For this next section, if you need help with timing, I have my controller inputs displayed so you know exactly when to parry. I've already explained how to parry the big jump and small jump, but to parry the glide and slash, wait until Gwyn stops moving and then parry. All of these are pretty consistent. However, there's one more long-range attack he can do. Gwyn can run forward and not jump, instead performing a stab at the player. This is the only attack to not feature a jump or glide, and if you get it mixed up with one of those two, you'll parry early and get killed. On my first Gwyn death, I anticipated a stab and instead got a slash, causing me to parry at the wrong time. When he does a stab, he'll pause for a bit, then run while charging his sword, and then stab. You want to parry right as he's about to attack. Once you've parried him, perform a two-handed riposte and repeat the cycle 3 more times. After combining all of this and a shitload of practice, this fight can actually become pretty consistent. And when you execute under all that pressure, you feel like a god.
Welcome to
And that finally concludes my no death and no hit SL1 guide for Dark Souls. Now I can finally go over my personal experience doing this challenge. This was quite a step up from what I had previously done. Actually, if I added up the amount of hours that I had spent on all my previous videos, it would still be less than how much I spent doing this challenge. This hardcore SL1 run was a mental struggle for a multitude of reasons, but the biggest was definitely how unforgiving Dark Souls just is in nature. Challenges like the Sister Location Custom Night felt impossible until they just weren't, and then I would beat them, right? The problem with this Dark Souls challenge is that it always felt possible, but every death was just stupid or undeserved. Remember in Dark Souls how I said you can't cancel your movements? That kind of contributes to it. You see yourself dying before it even happens. For most of the time playing though, every death was just a little bit of progress. I had a saying, every day, just a little further. First, I got to Quelagg, then Ceaseless, and then so on, just a little more, just a little bit further every single day. Eventually, at 30 hours in, I got my first run to Gwyn, and as you saw, I died. This really took a mental toll on me. If you die on the final boss, there's really nowhere to progress except straight up beating the game. So every single death I had onwards felt like I was regressing instead of progressing. The last time I seriously cried was at the end of Season 1 of Vinland Saga, which I won't spoil here, but watch it. It's super good. It's an amazing series. But as a fully grown man, I will admit this game made me cry real tears. I didn't want this video to take too long to get out, so I knew I had to beat it quick. Every single day would consist of get up, do my first Dark Souls run of the day, die, get mad, go to class, eat, Dark Souls, and more Dark Souls. This really wasn't working, and every death just became more and more stressful. One day, after I died on Sif of all bosses.
I'm Jonas. You lost to Sif.
I went outside for a walk. It was freezing out, but the amount of body heat you generate playing this game keeps you warm, I'm telling you. And then it hit me. I need to take a step back and really think about the route that I'm running. I can't use brute skill to go through everything. I had been using strats from 5 to 6 years ago. I'd been using my own strats pretty much. And that's when I began labbing the game. I went through every single tiny section in the game and made sure that I was doing the most optimal and up-to-date and efficient strats possible. Every single technique in the guide that used that little typewriter effect, I discovered here, along with the optimized 4 Kings fight and a few other techniques. I want to say a special thanks to some of the pro players that I was able to watch and take some inspiration from, since their videos really helped me optimize this run. Squilakilla, Gino Machino, The Happy Hob, and Faraz Khan all had some great runs that I could reference. With all this new tech and all this knowledge under my belt, I was finally able to go back to that previous mentality. Every day, just a little more. Yes! 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 Get it! Ah! Yes! I'm finally free! Ah! Yes! Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this was a great Christmas gift. If you'd like to view the entire run raw, I have a link to the raw recording in the description. And if you're new and you've made it this far, please consider subscribing. I plan to make a ton of videos like this in the future. With that said, Merry Christmas, and as always, thank you for watching.